Thank you for the very kind introduction. It's a pleasure to be addressing you today for this Conference of Hope. I've had the opportunity to speak both for the World Summit last February, as well as Think Tank 2022 Global Forum. It was incredible to work with so many experts and leaders on securing peace and freedom in Asia. At the World Summit in particular, it was tremendous to see nations from around the world together, working towards peace on shared issues. I'm deeply grateful to the Universal Peace Federation and to the Washington Times Foundation for convening these summits where peace can be pursued. I also want to sincerely commend Dr. Moon for her leadership and for her lifelong commitment to peace. Dr. Moon is inspiring, having escaped from North Korea with her Christian mother and grandmother following the communist takeover in 1948. She has diligently pursued peace with North Korea ever since. Her late husband, Reverend Moon, spent 2 years and 8 months in North Korean communist prison in Hungnam, finally escaping when UN forces under General Douglas MacArthur bombed the camp. Dr. Moon and her husband have been unwavering in their efforts against communism, which denies God and oppresses the faithful. I'd like to begin today by discussing China. For weeks now, the Chinese people have openly rejected the oppression of the Chinese Communist Party. Make no mistake about it. These are the most widespread and fervent protests the CCP has ever faced, at least since 1989. The bravery of the protesters today is inspiring to so many of us, and we should all do everything we can to support them. Now, the media has portrayed this movement as being about the regime's zero COVID policies. It's true, but it is only a small part of the story. Fundamentally, these protests are about freedom. The CCP's consistent action over the years and its response to these protests are about securing its permanent control and authority. While the communist regime may now claim to be lifting some of its zero COVID policies, the greater fight remains. You can be sure that its tactics, the CCP's tactics of censorship and brutal oppression, will remain. We've already seen them used in the concentration camps in Xinjiang, where millions of Uyghur Muslims suffer every single day. We've seen them used on Christians in China, be they Catholic or Protestant. And this will only get worse. Long after the final zero COVID policy is lifted, the CCP will continue to use its tools of oppression to crush religious freedom. We know this. We know this because faith in the Lord is communism's greatest enemy. Faith is beyond even the most repressive government's ability to push back against. It can't be destroyed by tyrannical fiat or communist persecution. Any government that denies religious freedom is destined to fall. This is why the Chinese Communist Party most hates and fears people of faith. Because, try as it might, the CCP will never have ultimate authority over the faithful. This holds true elsewhere in the world as well. Think of the leaders in Iran who won't so much as allow women the capacity to wear the clothes that they choose to wear, or to practice any faith. But that which is dictated by the regime is the only faith they are permitted. Think of Vladimir Putin, who claimed he was going to retake Ukraine on behalf of the Russian people. One of Putin's first steps was to turn the Russian Orthodox Church into a subservient arm of the state and to attack Ukraine's faith leaders if they did not follow suit. As a Secretary of State, I battle these adversaries every single day. To secure religious freedom, we must remain committed to engagement and dialogue, even with governments that don't have religious freedom. But every day we must also stand together against the clear threats to this fundamental right. And there is no greater threat today than that which is posed by communism. We see this playing out in Japan as well, as Speaker Newt Gingrich wrote about recently. In the wake of the tragic assassination of my friend Prime Minister Abe, the Japanese Communist Party has been attacking the Unification Church. The JCP has alleged that the church is engaged in corruption and is a threat to society, and that it undermines Japan's interest. Nothing could be further from the truth. The church, founded by Reverend Moon, has long stood against communism and has always championed stronger ties between Japan, Korea, and the United States of America. If there is anything the Unification Church undermines, it indeed is communism. We should see the JCP's attack for exactly what it is, an attempt to undermine and weaken the vital U.S.-Japan alliance, while encouraging better relations between Japan and the Chinese Communist Party. None of us None of us can allow this to happen. America and other free, democratic, and God-affirming nations must set the example. We must stand together against the threat communism poses, and we must never waver in this commitment. The surest way we can achieve this is by being steadfast champions of religious freedom and religious liberty. I am grateful. I'm grateful that this is the chief purpose of your summit. I encourage you all to keep up the fight. Thank you, and God bless you.